Here we go.
Be careful. You might learn something.
Let's go.
You are now tuned in to the Factual Opinions Podcast with your hosts. I am Pharaoh. Straight facts.
Welcome back, World Factual Opinions Podcast. This is season 3, episode 19. We're calling it Respond. For several reasons. There are always times in life when things pop up unexpectedly and you have to respond. Same thing in the sports world. Our beloved Bengals need to respond desperately right now. But this is your gracious and humble host. I am Pharaoh, tuning in with Will West, the best Nate.
You
And
know it.
our brother is back, the Brown Bruce Wayne Big John in the house.
What's good, man? What's good? Yes, sir.
So happy to have Big John back. We talked about. I know you were with us last episode, just not on screen. As usual, man. We want to give our condolences. We love you. We love Miss Sylvia. We dedicated last episode to her.
I appreciate that.
I know she would want us and you to keep going. So that's exactly what we're gonna do here, man.
Yes, sir.
A lot to get into. What's up, brother Brewski? Thank you for tuning in, sir.
That's my man.
My Madisonville brethren. Nate's Madisonville brethren, too. We got brother Dewan in the house. This is for you, brother Dewan. You see that Schroeder Jaguars gear right there, brother.
Right.
So yeah, man, we want to get right into it because there's a lot to respond to. First of all, before we even get into the football thing and trying to revive our Cincinnati Bengals, man, that trade, Dame Dollar.
Ooh, Jesus.
Jesus.
What about that, man? That came out of nowhere as training camp
Out
starts.
of nowhere. Dewan, I know you're upset, but it's okay, brother. You just gotta wait your turn. You gotta wait your turn.
Brewski said, happy to see you back, brother John.
Appreciate you, brother. Happy to be back, man. I kind of wanted to do it last week, man, but I kind of tapped out, man, because everybody knew what was going on. I tried to fight it because actually, man, this helps me, brother. But I know I couldn't do it, man. I had too much going on.
Wait, understandable. Dewan said that's the original, man. Like I said, I was with y'all in spirit, man, on the beach, man. I know things didn't go our way with North Central, I believe it was that we played. I checked in with y'all and Newberry, but the brother was relaxing, so
Right.
It was
For
due.
sure.
Yeah. So what do y'all think, man? Does this make Milwaukee the favorite in the East? They had to give up a few pieces, including your boy, was it Drew Holiday?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an important piece.
Where'd he come?
You say what?
Where'd he come? Where'd he end up going? Pause. Let me excuse myself.
Yeah, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, your verbiage.
Whoa, my fault.
That's a great soundbite.
I don't know where he went, but that's none of my business.
He came to Beantown, bro.
Yeah, Nate said, where'd he come? Pause.
Yeah. We end up in Boston, man. Drew Holiday signed with Boston yesterday.
Okay.
Or Monday.
But your rivals still look good out there, standing pat with some of the additions that we got over the offseason with Vincent and a few other people. So it'll be interesting. But no, I like the move, to be honest.
I do too. It was needed.
Yeah, they needed to shake things up, and Milwaukee was getting kind of stale. Giannis won't have to do as much, so there won't be as much wear and tear on him. And the same thing with Dame Dollar, really, having somebody to lean on, sort of like back in the day when he had McCollum, with him.
He's never been with a team like this.
No,
never.
Is Middleton gonna be ready? Is he gonna stay healthy?
Well,
That's
Middleton's
that.
getting
That's the
up
big
there.
question mark. That's the big question mark. Is Middleton gonna continue
Because
to
if
be
he
that?
if he comes back and he plays like he did when they won that championship that year, it's gonna get ugly.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah, health as well for even in sports, man. So I mean, it's the same for my Lakers. You know, we are depending on LeBron James in year 21 to stay healthy. And as always, I love him, but fear the brow.
Hey,
We're dependent on AD to stay healthy. Otherwise, the acquisitions and everything else don't matter if those two aren't healthy. So I think it's going to be interesting. I'm mad at my New York Knicks right now. I'm gonna just to throw that out there
They
because
made
they
no moves.
absolutely nothing
No moves.
did they do.
And
I
they
mean,
had the cap space to make a move. They had the
other than
cap
get
space to make moves.
other than getting Bronson, but when have they ever? I mean, in the past like 15, 20 years, when have they ever, other than Melo and Bronson? And those are too far in between.
Signed Amari Stoudemire.
Yeah,
Yeah, true. Yeah, we did. They did
Didn't
sign
work out
Amari.
quite the way we
that
wanted
that's
it
why
to.
that's why it wasn't memorable. That's why I was like, I didn't even count that. But yeah,
Well, here's the thing, and the reason why I'm mad at him is because the Knicks did make the conference finals. Last year they ran into the Heat, who I don't think will have the same team that they had because they had some people leave as well. And the Lakers signing Vincent, I think is going to be a
That's
huge
interesting.
addition. Um, but a lot of people are saying, man, get rid of Julius Randle, and I'm saying like for what though? Like and what are you getting in return? Time to get rid of Julius Randle if you were gonna do that. And by the way, I'm not in agreement with doing so, unless there's a trade that you can't resist. Would have been why you still had Obi Toppin, but they traded him
Hmm.
to the Pacers. So now you don't have anybody behind Julius Randle.
But you know what I think? This out on the limb. I think they should have went to get Miles Turner, keep Obi Toppin, send Julius Randle to Indy.
I wouldn't have been opposed to that. But then again, what do you do with Mitchell Robinson?
You keep him, bring him off the bench.
Man, he ain't going for that. You know
He ain't
it.
no offer. He ain't no. I'm gonna be honest.
Mitchell
Mitchell
Robinson
Robinson
is better than
ain't.
people give him
I mean,
credit
yeah,
for.
but he's like he's a watered down version of the center at
Clinton
Golden State.
Capella.
No, at Golden State, the center, uh, Golden State center. What's his name?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I'm having a brain for it right now, but yeah.
but yeah, he's a watered down version of him.
Really? I thought you were gonna say James Wiseman,
Mm,
Not,
mm.
but that's not the guy at
No,
center. Well, look, man, the Knicks, like Jonathan said, have been known for not making certain moves and then making questionable moves that don't pan out when they do decide to do something. So I'm not surprised. But Rob Pelinka in the game out west uh, did try to make some moves to aid King James and trying to get another one because the clock is ticking. So, but obviously
chicken.
Dame Dollar stole the headlines, man, for the NBA. That's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. So let's get right to it. I wish Will Johnson was tuned in right now because he attacked Coach Prime again for no apparent reason because some random guy altered a Colorado Buffalo shirt that had the CU on it, and he put HB in front of it to mock HBCUs. And we had that discussion about how and why certain people don't feel the same way about HBCUs as Will did. Like Prime put him up to it and told him to do that, or something. But um, I want to get into the Colorado Buffaloes and college football right now. Now I'm an old school, as Cam says, leatherhead when it comes to football, and I don't believe there are any moral victories in football. But I want to throw this out there and see what you guys think. I arguably think that Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes showed more last week in their loss to USC than any of their three victories particularly because they could have packed it in the way that game was going early and came back with a chance to win without Shiloh Sanders at safety and without Travis Hunter. Nate, your mic is
Yeah,
muted,
Shiloh
by the
got
way.
hurt. Didn't Shiloh get hurt?
Shiloh was hurt; he didn't play, and without Travis Hunter, wound up coming back. Only lost 48-41. Had an opportunity on the onside kick. So I agree with
Terrible
Coach
kick,
Prime.
man. Terrible kick.
What did Coach Prime say? He said if you don't see what's happening at Colorado right now, you just a flat out hater.
Right. And this
That's
is
Wait
real.
it
till Coach
shows.
Prime gets his guys,
Oh yeah.
his recruits, actually has depth on that roster behind the starters.
How many
Just like
5-stars he got coming in next year?
I'm sure you got a lot coming. But it's and wait till he
so
starts
Siri was
getting
trying to help me with the Coach Prime quote right now. I don't know if that was recorded on there, but
right.
um, it's a popular topic right now. So, what do you guys think about what Coach Prime is doing out there?
I mean, what he's doing, man, as a coach, man, is amazing. Coming off that loss, getting beat up to Oregon the way they did, and actually competing with a very good or decent USC team, like you said, having a chance to win. That's coaching, because that shows, all right, we just got our head knocked off. We shaking it off, and we coming back and competing on the highest level against USC, who maybe not the USC of old, but Lincoln Riley still got them playing. So it's not like that's an easy win. That's not like that's something you're going to go into Coliseum and just blow them out. That's not going to happen. So it actually shows a lot. And like you said, once Coach Prime started getting his guys, and once he started getting those front seven guys and offensive linemen like he want, like the other guy, like the other people, it's gonna be dope. It's gonna be all right.
There he is. I was waiting for him to come and hoping he was come, or the USC let their foot off.
You said what?
Both, but
he's
that's their
trying to
fault.
discredit Colorado's, comeback and say that USC just let their foot off the gas. But I was waiting for Will to say something like that.
Nobody paying Quentin Spivey no attention, man.
Well, I'm gonna get out the G Money because I know last year he did the same thing. He tried to say when I said that school up north, that team up north, let their foot off the gas and weren't prepared to play TCU, and definitely didn't bring the same intensity that they did when they played my beloved Buckeyes. And he said, well, are you sure Georgia didn't do the same thing? Yes, I'm sure, Will, because the two most talented teams in the country last year were Georgia and Ohio State, and they have equal athletes. So it wasn't about letting the foot off the gas. They actually played another team that could compete with them and had the athletes to do so. So not all those teams, live in the SEC. So that's why you saw what you saw last year. So there's a difference. But I would say that maybe there was a little bit of both, that happened. USC let their foot off the gas. But again, Coach Prime, coaches those kids hard and the rest of his staff, and they don't have any quit in them. So I didn't expect anything else. Shedeur is a dog, so I didn't expect him to quit playing, especially after the performance they had last week against Oregon. They were going to try to fight.
Sure.
I'm the one who said
I'm gonna say this.
The game would be closer than Oregon. Go ahead, Nate.
I think they underestimated them. I definitely think USC underestimated. They seen them go against Oregon. They was like, oh, they just popped them off the chart, and we gonna do the same. And that wasn't the case.
Nate, I kind of agree, but is USC? And this is no shot at what Colorado did in competing, but is USC really that good? Like,
that defense don't look like shit. I'm gonna tell you that. Excuse my mouth. I'm sorry. Excuse my mouth. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No offense. No offense to Lincoln Riley, but none of his defense look like anything.
They like that.
That's not a surprise.
Like that is what it is talk. So none of his defenses look like that. Even in Oklahoma, none of his defense. They're gonna put up points, but they ain't gonna stop a nosebleed. None of them look like that. I'll say this: Caleb Williams is. I believe he's that talented, and they're starting to get the athletes around him out there. But like John said, you can go back to Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma. Defense is usually non-existent, and that's what usually becomes their Achilles heel, especially when they step up in competition. But it was a good environment, man. College, not college game day. Fox kickoff was
Fox, yeah,
there
that was Fox.
again. There's a lot of buzz around that program, and there's going to continue to be. I saw John's boy, the baby, was in the crowd.
Right, that's my guy.
That dude is a lunatic, man. He was sitting
man.
there in the normal fan section with no problems neither.
Yeah, hey. And ain't nobody gonna give him none.
Nah, because you heard what he did at that Walmart.
Yeah, ain't nobody gonna give him none either. So
the baby was sitting there chilling. My man Kenneth Davis in the house. We appreciate
What's up, Ken?
brother.
My man. Yes, sir.
We appreciate you tuning in, man.
Yeah, Oregon's defense is better than USC's. We seen that Saturday. That was definitely a difference.
Oregon's team is just better.
Yeah, I see. I'm not gonna hold y'all. I see them being in the college playoff.
I don't even think. And even though they lost like a couple weeks ago, I don't even think USC is better than Oregon State right now. But
and I can't remember the last time they had a good team in Corvallis. But the whole Pac-12, I think, right now is playing some serious ball and might be the best conference in college football. And that's what I tell people. Like, you have to be objective. And conference supremacy is a year-to-year thing. Like, I can't stand the people that come into the year and say, the Confederate States of America conference is the best automatically. I'm like, yeah, I said it. This ain't 2006 to 2013. Okay, the post Tyler Perry, Lil Wayne Renaissance is over. Okay, the rest of the country has adjusted. We were still only talking about Alabama, Georgia, and sometimes LSU. Let's be honest about it, because
this is a big down year for the U.S.
This year is only Georgia. But
yeah. But Georgia looked like they were struggling on Saturday.
Oh, Georgia is definitely beatable. Georgia is definitely beatable.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, and it's a couple of surprise teams that look good, like Washington. Like I said, Oregon State.
Washington looks amazing right now.
It's a couple surprise teams that look great right now. Now,
they're not even getting talked about right now. Washington ain't even getting talked about. They look amazing right now.
They look good. But that's the funny part, because y'all know, like, as far as watching a game from start to finish, I watch, every conference, college football. That's my love. But, SEC, I probably only watch like 2 or 3 regular season games from start to finish the entire year, because I just can't stomach it. I just, be honest. But sitting down there at that cigar lounge down there in South Carolina at Myrtle on Saturday, that was actually fun.
No choice.
Watching,
no choice.
Well, they had the Michigan-Nebraska game on, but it was so far over in the corner, like,
and that was a blowout. Nobody gonna watch that nowhere.
Yeah, that was terrible.
But, I had to be careful because I had to realize where I was, though.
Yeah, oh yeah. Billy, ma'am, we want some pie.
But because they were into that Georgia Auburn game, and before that, when I first got there, they were watching Clemson Syracuse game. Mm-hmm. And y'all know how I feel about the Southern Television.
Yeah, you gotta be careful where you was.
But I'm like, okay, I'm in South Carolina right now, so I gotta chill because Clemson just down the road. Yeah, I ain't got nobody with me. I ain't have old Spanky.
Yeah, and not to be funny, and I ain't gonna keep too long on this. The Georgia Auburn game was actually a good game. To the bottom fell out. To Auburn gave it away. I said pause. Auburn gave it away. But getting it, they was going back and forth, good defense.
Yeah, it was 14-14 at was it halftime?
It was 21-21.
Oh, it was a close game. Auburn should have won that game, to be honest.
They should have.
And it was at home. It was at Jordan-Hare Stadium. They had every reason to win that game. And DeJuan said, "Facts, Bama looking bad." That's an objective comment, especially for, I don't know where Nate just went. But that's an objective comment for Dewan because I know he likes Roll Tide. I don't particularly know why, but
Well,
shout
to
out to
answer your,
my
yeah,
cousin Bernard down there in
yeah.
Birmingham.
My brother Dewan, y'all got to go back to playing. I ain't gonna stay too long on this. I want to make Al mad, but y'all got to get back to playing Alabama ball, bro. Running the ball, playing defense, and let that young man, what's his name, Milton, whatever his name is, he's the best chance y'all got right now. So let
Yeah,
him
I
rock.
don't like how they tried to make him the scapegoat.
And he's been
You
playing the
know,
best out of all quarterbacks. Like he throwing and passing, like he's been doing the best. So let that man rock, man.
yeah, it's not the same level of precision in quarterback that we've seen in year passes, but the brother is an athlete. We talking about the dude at Alabama.
Yeah,
They,
yeah.
um, I don't think he's the problem. I just don't think Alabama is as good as they've
Nah, they're not.
been
They'll pro-
previously.
This is
they'll
the first.
probably.
Hold on. Let's go to this. This is the first year they don't have a 5-star receiver either.
But like I before you came back, like I said, they got to start back playing old Bama football because they probably have one of the
Yeah, they
better
gotta get to the
offensive.
run again.
They got one of the better offensive lines in the nation, and them they average about 6'5", 360, 70. So they moving people, and they can run the ball on whoever. So they got to start going back, like running the ball and playing defense.
I don't think they're as physically imposing either as they've been in previous years. Nick Saban was proving a point to the boosters.
Yeah,
Um,
he kind of went off. He kind of went off on the
like
sideline
people
last
aren't
week.
going into
Got his
games.
blood pressure up.
I compare them to like Mike Tyson. You know, people are not going after Buster Douglas. People are not going into the ring scared of Alabama, so to speak, anymore. You saw how South Florida came out playing them boys before they had that weather delay and that running back running over
Yeah.
people clean. I ain't never seen the Alabama defense under Nick Saban get
Yeah, he
done
was running over
like
everybody
that.
in his way. Everybody was in
So
his way. He had somewhere to be, and they was in the way.
now I must admit, as we transition away from that conference, I know they haven't really played anybody, and they got why is that coming back on there? All right, so I know they haven't really played anybody,
That was my fault.
and
I hit it on accident. My bad.
they have your boy Jim Harbaugh back. But I will admit, objectively, this is so hard for me to say.
Come on, you can do it, bro. It's okay.
That team up north looks pretty
You
impressive
you can
right
do it.
now.
It's okay. That was very big of
Who
you,
said?
Paul.
Hold on. John, you say that?
I heard him say it. You know,
Oh, I thought
you
you
know.
said that. Hold on. I had to look at the camera twice.
Nah. You know, I
That
have no
wasn't.
problem. I have no problem.
Well,
I have no problem giving that team credit. That's him.
I have a problem, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem giving his team credit, but he got a problem giving that team credit.
yes, I do.
I'm gonna say this, Al, and I'm with you. You know, I'm on that team too with Ohio State. They look tough.
Right. We still ain't did nothing, but my boys are still undefeated as of right now.
Yeah, right now.
We gonna pray on
I'm
that.
waiting for y'all to play for the state.
Brooksy said I screen recorded him saying.
My boys are undefeated,
job,
so
bro.
this the
Cuz,
first
good
time in a
job.
long time that this Florida State Miami game may actually mean something.
Yeah, this gonna mean so. What they?
Yeah, that's
Is
gonna
it 2
be.
weeks? They got 2 weeks.
I think it's 2 weeks. I think so.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good
That's the
game.
week of UC homecoming.
Like the old school Miami Florida State
Now
game.
I ain't gonna go that far, but it's gonna be
You
okay.
pushing it now.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying as far as meaning something. I'm not saying it's the
yeah.
same level of play or athletes that
Right.
we used to. But no, I look. Michigan has a formula right now, running the ball with Blake Corum. Mike Hart is one of the best running back coaches in the nation. He produced several 1,000-yard backs when he was at Indiana as the assistant head coach and running back coach there. So I've always said when he went back to Michigan, because his ultimate goal is to be the head coach of the Michigan Wolverines. He said that even when he was playing there, and he still is the school's all-time leading rusher. So I believe Blake Corum and the running backs there have benefited off of his, coaching. Jim Harbaugh humbled himself and reached out to his brother in the NFL, defensively.
Not yet, Will.
He reached out defensively to get help, and it's shown the last 2 years. So they're
Al,
going to be
can
a
I say one
problem.
thing before you go?
What's that?
Since we're talking about Ohio State, Michigan, I'm gonna put this gem
Well, I
out
ain't
there
got
first.
to my Buckeyes yet. I'm
Yeah,
trying
we ain't
to.
got to them yet. Well, go ahead, go ahead and get to the Buckeyes. Then. We can go there.
Well, I'm just saying that I noticed what Michigan is. Excuse me, that team up north is doing. So
Oh,
that
we gotta bleep that out. He actually said the
yeah.
word. Look at
So
look at
The
God.
word.
Look at God. He actually said the word.
so they're
What's
gonna
up,
be a
Chris?
problem, especially they got that JJ McCarthy running around doing that Doug Flutie bull
Yeah, man. He on some
junk
Doug
and
Flutie mess. Yeah.
Ben Roethlisberger creating broken play stuff. That's a problem because it's
Yeah.
not drawn
That's
up.
frightening. That's
Yeah,
frightening.
that Trace McSorley stuff. So he's gonna be an issue. Uh, Brother Chris Taylor in the house.
My man.
You say what I miss? We talked about the Dame Dollar trade and how that shifts things in the NBA going forward, and whether that makes Milwaukee the clear cut favorite in the East.
Go ahead.
Um,
Tell him Drew Holiday went to Boston too. You got to put that out there too, man.
and this Celtics fan out here talking that mess.
Green is for the money, gold is for the hundreds.
Y'all done had Kyrie, whole bunch of guys. That ain't mean nothing.
But
ain't
it's like
done
a
nothing.
point guard. We can honestly say this is a point guard that like is willing to share.
Y'all done had
Kyrie ain't willing
Kimba,
to share.
Kyrie.
Wasn't. You know damn well Kyrie wasn't willing to share.
Now
Nothing.
you know damn well we only
That
spend
was y'all.
limited time talking about the Celtics on this program. So
You said that. You said it about Michigan too. You try to have a better day.
yeah, and I'm
See,
trying to move
I
on.
get no love on here, y'all.
I'm
Y'all
just
see it.
trying
I
to
get
give
no love
Brother
on
Chris. I'm trying to give Brother Chris the recap. We talked about Coach Prime and how maybe they showed more in a loss last week without Shiloh and without Travis Hunter than they did in their 3 victories this year. And now we're kind of talking about the Big Ten. We did recap some SEC football and how that team up north looks scary. I'm trying to be unbiased when I, say that. But we do need to recap the
We ain't
Buckeyes
get love for
because
that.
we previewed the Notre Dame game, last episode, which was a big game. And the Buckeyes did a equivalent of what you would call a football buzzer beater, scoring with 1 second left to get out of a hostile Notre Dame Stadium overlooking touchdown Jesus. He was on the Buckeye side. Kyle McCord. Got a question about that objectively. Does anybody think that performance is going to give Kyle McCord enough confidence to step up and be the guy finally?
Yeah, I do. I do. The reason
John
I say
making the
I do
face.
because he was in the trenches. He ain't never been in the trenches yet. When you put a man in the trenches, when you put a quarterback in those type of trenches where he ain't been there before, that adjusts his that
I mean, that took
adjusts
some
him as a
Craig Krenzel
quarterback.
nuts to
It
do what
did.
he
Look,
did. Pause.
I'm not judging. He did a good job, and this is no shot at Ohio State because I'm going to be as unbiased as possible. But Notre Dame gave that up more than him playing well. Now he made the play.
How so?
The penalties.
Oh, number one, the penalties.
Penalties
Number
were
two,
in Notre Dame's
but hold
favor.
on.
When you
Number
when you
two,
had
At
to
the end of the
convert
game,
a
it was
3rd
Notre
and
Dame with the
16
penalties.
with
they had
15 seconds left.
Oh, Al, as a football player, Notre Dame had several times to shut the door, and they did not. They could have drove the clock out. They made plays that they shouldn't have called. It was just they didn't play smart football
Coulda,
for it.
shoulda, woulda. That that 3rd and
Hold on,
16 reminded me of that 4th and 15 in the national championship against your Hurricanes.
y'all made the play. And like I said, you know me, a win is a win is a win. I'm not saying that you're not
Coulda
correct.
closed the door, Big John, man.
I'm not saying you're not correct. That's why I'm not laughing. I'm not saying you're not correct. You are correct. They should have, but they didn't. So I'm not gonna give him that yet. Now, when he comes out and plays a complete game, yeah, he made a good play. When he comes out and plays a complete game, then I'll give him his credit. Because right now he don't look good. And just like Auburn let it go, Notre Dame let that go. Notre Dame let that go.
Brother Chris said, Big John, glad to see you back, my brother. My condolences,
Yes, sir.
big
Yes, sir.
dog.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Thank you so much, man. Thank you.
Well, since y'all gave up way too much for Drew Holiday.
No, we didn't. We didn't. We gave up some draft picks and we gave up some bench performers. We didn't give up too much.
Okay.
The only person I think we gave up was the
Thank you, brother Brewski. I appreciate you. Thank you.
was
Thank
the
you. Thank
young
you.
was
I
the young
agree with
point
Big
guard. That's the
John.
only one I think we gave up.
Look, man, you can give up with whatever you want, and Marcus Freeman, had 10 people on the field the last play. Whatever. You still have to make the play.
Yes,
And
they
Yeah, for
lost. That's
sure.
when
the bottom
when
line.
Kyle
For
McCord
sure.
had that intentional grounding penalty, I was getting ready to turn off the TV because I thought, okay, well, Notre Dame's got this, at this point. And that lineman, who I forgot his name purposely, they got that personal foul when Ohio State was converting to go up, and
Mm.
I think it was it Josh Farmer. I forgot his name, but anyway, that was one of the most selfish plays that I've seen in a very long time. And
Yeah, it was Josh. I know it was Josh something. I don't know the last name, but yeah,
yeah,
I know
as
it was
as a
Josh.
guy that played and devoted his life to this game and coached and everything, like that's the exact type of example that you show the players on what not
For
to
sure.
do.
For sure.
When you make it more about you than the team, because it could have and probably should have cost Ohio State the game, to be honest. Because when they had to punt the ball and Notre Dame, went down and scored, that was their opportunity, right there. But like I said, there were several times on that last drive with Notre Dame when they passed the ball instead of running the ball, stuff like that. So I'm in agreement with that. But even with that said, and them punting the ball back to Ohio State, they still had to go out and win the game, and that's
Yeah.
Oh
exactly
yeah,
what they did.
bro. I'm not debating the win and the loss. I'm just saying, just like you said, Auburn should have won. Notre Dame gave that game up. Now, to Ohio State's credit, they won the game. They played. They made the necessary plays to win the game. So you cannot take that away from them. And that last drive, with Marvin Harrison Jr. making them a couple catches, that was big.
And that was big, him coming back
Real
off that
big.
ankle injury, because I know Buckeye Nation was holding their
In
collective
panic mode.
breaths.
I went in
So was
panic
I.
mode.
Because honestly, that changed the game too. When
It
when
did.
Trey when Trey Day took it to the crib and was up 10-0, momentum was getting ready to change in the Buckeyes' favor, and they probably were getting ready to pull away. But when everybody turned back and looked, and the franchise is laying on the ground, like it's like, oh man, and he's going in that medical tent. I know the players were worried about him too. That kind of changed the trajectory of the
Right.
game too.
And that's
Uh,
Can
a
I say
team
my
gave.
prediction now? I'm
Go
gonna say
ahead.
my prediction. My prediction is Mayans leaving after this year.
I'm gonna get to mine in a second. I want to shout out Coach Day for putting it out on the table before I forget about that.
Yeah,
And
he
that
did. He
Ohio
did.
against the world speech,
Ohio against the
because it's
world.
always Ohio against the
I should have
world.
put my shirt on today because Ohio
I
against
was
the
like,
world was for
oh,
real.
Coach Day, tell them what it is, man. Because they do hate the state of Ohio. Outside the state of Ohio, don't nobody give a damn about the state of Ohio. And it's always been that way, as Coach Day said.
I like
And Lou
Ohio.
Holtz needs to shut his old ass up. Period, point blank. And throw
You
that
know
out
he's seen
there.
now.
No, he was, throwing back drinks and feeling good, and
I say
there
draft.
with his '88
So
national
good.
championship team and all of them, and it was
Brewski, I
jump
say
jump
draft.
jump 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 all year, all weekend. They even made transfer. Hold on, I'm gonna get to mine. I'm trying to talk about my coach. Damn it! Now, um, like he said, they played one bad half of football the past few years, and then people tried to put this narrative out there about them being finesse and everything else. So I could see it in Ryan Day's face when he ran out of field. He was pissed, and
He was pissed. He
like he
was
said,
hot.
like he
He was
said,
hot.
you can see it on his face before the game. Like he said, I want to see where Lou Holtz is at now. All I know is that Coach Day has to keep this team focused. If they have to Craig Krenslett with Kyle McCord to get through this year, they do have enough athletes around him to do so. Um, but again, it's going to come down to that final Saturday in November. You know, And I wouldn't want to be Coach Day if we end up on the wrong side of that one 3 years
Yeah,
in a row.
he gonna resign. He ain't gonna even. He's gonna resign.
We got a dangerous one this weekend with Maryland.
Yeah, I like Mike Loxley at
I do
Maryland. I
too.
really do. That brother can coach. He is a great offensive mind. He studied under Saban at Alabama for years, and that's his alma mater at Maryland. He don't get enough credit, but the job that he's done there to even elevate them to be in a bowl team again, and having Tua's little brother, Maryland gave Ohio State a game last year.
That's true.
So we'll see what happens. But yes, getting on to brother Mayan. I don't know what necessarily happened, but I was talking to Cam about this. Um, he's clearly third string on the depth chart
Yep,
right now.
definitely.
Trey Day, he was supposed to be the starter. Okay, you bring in 5-star running back, best running back in the nation, and there are reasons why Ohio State wants him to play, not just because he's always one slip tackle or misalignment away from taking it to the crib. It's also a recruiting tool too, where you need to let a guy like him get off, so other top tier running backs are interested in coming to your school and they say, look what happened when Trey Day went there. But I thought clearly going into this year that Mayan and Trey Day were going to be the one to
One and the
punch
two.
one
Yeah.
A 1B. Chip Trainum came out of nowhere last year when they needed him in that Michigan game. He was a transfer from Arizona State. He was supposed to play linebacker. He was born and raised in Akron. So he grew up wanting to play for the Buckeyes, but they wanted him to play linebacker. So he went to Arizona State, played running back for 2 years, transferred back. With Mayan and Trey Day being hurt going into the Michigan game last year, they switched Chip back to running back. And honestly, he's done a good job. He was the one that scored on that, last play from the goal line and converted. So yes, I'm with you. Mayan is probably going to be a transfer candidate, and it's
I think he's
sad because he
draft. I
saved
don't
them.
think
Like,
he's transferring. I think he's going to the draft.
even if he does that, his value is going to be hurt a little bit by him not playing as much this year. But I don't agree with it. I think Mayan saved us a few times last year. In fact, in the Notre Dame game to open
For
the
sure.
season last year, if Mayan didn't come in and start running downhill on people, might have been a different outcome in that game. I think Mayan has been loyal. I think he's contributed enough to the program. But again, I'm not there. I don't know what Coach Day and Brian Hartline are seeing or what's going on in practice. But it is unfortunate. I think Mayan should still be getting carries. But I mean, the running back room is as deep as it's ever been at Ohio State. Man, there's still guys like
It's 4D, baby.
technically, but it's not 4 people playing. You know, Evan Pryor came back off that ACL. He was the number 3 guy last year. Um,
I
you know,
wouldn't either,
you
Bruce. I wouldn't. Either.
you still have another guy that's not playing in Dallin Hayden. The true freshman last year from Memphis that came in when everybody was hurt, number 5. That stepped up big time. So it's crowded for Tony Alford right now. And usually, I mean, you can do formations where there's more than one back on there, but that's kind of passe at this point, right now in football.
Yeah.
So they have to do a better job of managing the room. Brucey said I wouldn't enter the draft. I wouldn't either if I was mine. I would try to go somewhere not. But the question is, where would he go? You know what I mean? Like, where is he gonna go? Where he's gonna be the feature back without downgrading? Because mine could.
UC.
I mean, that's Big 12 country. A lot of them. Was he gonna start over Corey?
I
Like,
mean, it can
Yeah.
be certain
Yeah.
programs like he got to just
he's
find a
starting
good fit
over
for him.
Corey.
It got to be a good program, man. It can be certain. It don't have to be UC. I know UC is home, but it doesn't
It
have
could be
to
like
be UC.
Iowa State where he originally wanted to
Yeah,
go or something.
yeah.
Brewski said he would have to downgrade. See, and that's what I'm thinking. Like,
Yeah.
Mayan, not to be funny, Mayan could go to like a Mac school and probably run for like 15, 1600 yards if he wanted to.
Like you said, it would have to be a place, and I'm just spitballing, like Iowa State, like you said, some place like Illinois, somewhere like that where it's a downgrade. Of course, it's still D1, but it's just not Ohio State. It's just not
Chris
that.
just said it.
Get the brother
Like,
Chris.
Not a bad thing at all. Iowa State needs a running back too.
And you had to be careful, especially with the way that they are, denigrating the running back position at this point and trying to, make it seem like an afterthought. Like you definitely had to be, careful because the market is totally shifted. They're not even looking unless you're like a Bijan Robinson or something like that. They're not even looking to draft you in the first round right now. So you do have to be careful. You have to go to a place where you can get your shine on. But I think honestly he would have to take a step back. Like it would have to be someplace,
Big
even if
12,
it's
Mac.
yeah,
Just
I was
chill.
gonna say, something like maybe a Houston or East Carolina. And
Yeah.
I'm not trying to play Miami because I think he can play. I want him to
hey,
stay, but if he's not gonna get carries, he has to do what's best,
For
for
him
him.
in his
and
situation.
I'm saying this as a joke because I know the Prime gonna get the guys, but the Buffalo need a power back because
That
they
could be
don't have
another
one.
option.
They don't have
Buffalo
one.
Buffalo
Right.
does not the Buffalo does not have a power back, and Prime loves the transfer portal, as we know. They need a power back, and Mayan is not a scrub. So
He's
No.
not. He goes somewhere like Pitt or something like that. I believe there's a lot of people that would love to have Mayan in the transfer portal. So if he does leave, he can
I
have a lot of
guarantee you, if
options.
he ends up in the transfer portal, they do it by numbers. He's gonna be the one. He's gonna be the number one in the transfer portal.
Yeah, Bruce, you said right. He can go to a Big 12 or a MAC school and kill it. Yeah.
I mean, it's a
So
couple Big Ten schools he can go to, just not Ohio State. He just can't stay there.
Yeah, it's too many backs overloaded.
you can
Yeah.
go to Indiana, you go to Purdue, uh, maybe a Wisconsin who has a history of power backs.
And
That
have the line
Fickle
and
over
have the
there.
lineman that will block for you.
Fickle
Yeah,
did recruit him out of high school.
yeah. So he'll have options going forward. But no, it'll be interesting. I'm looking to see what Ohio State does after their bye week against Maryland this Saturday. They had to keep getting better. There's way too much talent out there for guys not to be getting the ball. I want Kyle McCord. This is just my honest, opinion as we transition away from him. I want him to quit staring down wide receivers. I know that's easier said than done when you have Marvin Harrison and Egbuka out there. Probably the best 1-2 punch in the
In the
country.
country right now.
Um, because Julian Fleming is open a lot of times. The tight end Cade Stover is open a lot of times. We haven't even
I
talked
like
about
Stover, man. I
Stover's
didn't know he
dog.
was. He a
He
standout, man. He can
he's
catch
he's one of the
he can
best
catch that football, man.
Old State tight ends that I've seen in a long time. I was
Yeah,
big on
he
Jeff
really
Hireman,
good, man.
but as far as being an athlete, Cade Stover, I'm trying to think. Last athlete Ohio State has had a tight end like
That's what
that.
that's what I was about to question. Like, I mean, I know wide receiver is a
He
big
give me
deal, but like,
Kelsey
when the
vibes. I
last
ain't even gonna
tight
hold you.
end they all had that was doing something like?
He definitely give
Well,
me
my
Kelsey
man a few
vibes, bro.
years ago that was number one in the country, and I can't believe his name is slipping me right now. Um, they got drafted by the Jets. He was the number one
Uh,
tight end in the country. I think it was it Luke.
Luke something. Yeah, you're right.
I'm gonna have to look it up because that's pissing me off that I forgot. But
What was his last name? And then the Notre Dame had a top
he was
tight
the
end.
one that made the one hand catch against Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship. I can't believe y'all ain't helping me out right now.
Curtis said Moose Gray.
No.
Mm-mm.
I hate to pause the program like this, but that's killing me. I had to look it up,
But
man.
I'm gonna say this: he definitely needs to work on looking off DBs. He struggles with that. I noticed that when he was playing against Notre Dame because he was sitting on everybody. Pause. He was just.
Hey, bro, you flagrant today, bro.
I am. I'm real bad right now.
Like, bro.
I'm out my element with my drink. That's what's messing me up.
Jeremy Ruckert was his name.
Okay. Yeah, I vaguely remember him.
Yeah, he was the best tight end in the country out of New Jersey, and the Jets drafted him in the 3rd round back in 2022. He was pretty good. But now Cade Stover, as far as being a dog, I'm gonna throw out a name that probably only Ohio State hardcore fans will remember. He was only in school for like a year or two before he got in trouble. But Marcel Frost was a
I remember Frost.
Was a Jim Tressel boy. Was a dog, but got in trouble, couldn't stay in school. But nah, yeah, what Musgrave. Shout out to Curtis Robinson, Curtis Custom Cuisines. This man has the best shrimp and grits you ever gonna taste.
Oh, happy anniversary, Kurt.
And happy anniversary, definitely. But I do need to hit you up for some shrimp and grits very soon. Brucey said Frost was a beast. Yeah, he was for a short time. He was there. It was a couple guys from that Cleveland area that was supposed to be dogs at Ohio State, but couldn't stop from getting in trouble. Him, my man, the wide receiver, Ray Small, was supposed to be a dog out of Glenville. Hey
man, I gotta test out these shrimp and grits. I don't even eat it, but
bruh,
y'all vouching for Kurt a lot.
Brewski, no.
Yeah, I might have to,
hey man, they what's up? They worth it, brother. They definitely worth it. I'm a grit connoisseur.
Kurt, I got cigars coming in too, so
good,
we'll let you know.
Now, so I don't know if I told the story or not, but so when we catered the first team meal of the year for the Schroeder squad, I got all the players the sandwiches and went to Chick-fil-A and got them the fruit platter and all that stuff and the body armor. But separately, I was on some Fat Boy stuff. I had
5-star.
Yeah, it is.
I got you, Kurt.
Separately, I had Curtis do me up a large tray of the shrimp and grits. Now I'm not gonna say how much of that I ate that same night.
You embarrassed about it?
No, I'm not embarrassed because when you bite into it, man, all that shit go out the window. I'm just be honest with you. But I was so we'll be hitting him up because we got the UC homecoming coming up anyway. I'm planning on doing it a little bit different than we did last year. Want to make sure we have stuff on stock while we're there. But yeah, so moving on.
I gotta be functioning. I have to be functioning.
Well, you gonna be functioning, man.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Just making sure. I do have a couple cigars left over from the ones I purchased in Myrtle Beach, so I don't want you to be mad at me if I blaze them up first.
No. It's all about pleasure is mine. Cigar Lounge is my brand. So if anybody needs cigar, if you got any cigar needs, I got you. Enjoyable smokes, enjoyable vibes. That's what I live.
I'm gonna cop a few from you while we down there, man.
Yeah, for sure. I already know. I ain't worried about you.
So moving on, we got to get to the Feast de la Resistance. Then we'll talk a little bit about how Canelo had too much dynamite in his gloves for Charlo.
Big fella, check his gloves.
It's bad when Charlo takes a knee, bro. That means he was getting hit with some stuff.
Bro, I got a tent. You have to come, Brewski. Come on, cuz. You got to, man.
Man, you need to come down there with us.
Al will tell you. Al had a good time. Al didn't leave until I left.
Yeah, I stayed the whole time. And that's the thing, because, me, even being a UC grad, I never went. I was like, man, I don't know if I want to do all that. But, man, you got UC stars and stuff coming like Donald Little and the rest of the gang that's gonna be down there that hopefully we can link up with. If you watched Factual Opinions previously, Big Ronnie would definitely be down
Yeah, he
there.
said he gonna pull up. Yeah,
He's
yeah, he did
always
say.
down there. No, it's a good time, Brucey. Like you need to come out, man. Definitely. I
And then
stayed the whole
I'm gonna have the
time.
gazebo this year, so we gonna have a setup and everything.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a
Nate
good
gonna
time.
ride with me. I'm gonna help him out because I think it's a little bit more room in my car for him to put stuff in, and
Yeah,
that way I ain't got to worry about parking.
yeah. You
So
ain't gotta. Yeah, you can leave your
Yeah.
car there and you good to go. Yeah, I
I
ain't
Big
had to
gotta
park
John
worry
at
had
I
to
had
about
to
leave
park
nobody
at
else's
early.
red
CVS.
car. So, yeah.
Oh, but that was a blessing. I had reasons to leave, but
Big
that
John
was
had
that
to
was a
leave
blessing.
early, bro, because they they made the
Oh yeah,
announcement
they
like
made the announcement.
anybody
They get ready to
working
start
at
towing.
CVS, you need to go get your car right now.
Yeah, I wasn't playing.
Hey,
I had my
I
baby
ain't seen
still
Big
back
John
then.
move like that since he was a
He's
Man,
like, I gotta go, bro.
DM boy.
yeah. They ain't
Yeah,
about to throw. I had my charger at the time. They ain't about to throw my baby. Fuck it. I ain't having that.
he was swift with it, bro. Nah, but we got you, Brucey.
It's next weekend, broski. I mean, yeah,
Oh,
this next weekend.
and we got brother Alex in the building.
Yes, sir.
Alex
What's up, brother?
Alex Nelson in the crib. Appreciate you for stopping by. Oh, and for anybody, we know what our most popular episode is on here, and everybody's been clamoring for a part two.
Hey, man.
He said he gonna be in the building and he's gonna leak up with us.
Hey, man.
So, brother Baloney, aka the greatest six man in UC basketball history,
Tony
Tony
Baloney.
Bobbitt, will be in the building.
Hey, man. That's my brother, man.
We found him, y'all. We found him.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah. So, um, probably gonna do another episode with him.
We got to put the disclaimer up because
Yeah, we got to put the disclaimer
User
up.
discretion is
right. We
advised.
got to put the parental advisory, the little black and white sticker in the corner.
Yeah, I need to go ahead and get that together. The opinions expressed on here do not directly.
Yeah.
Not directly.
Uncut,
You the opinions
unfiltered,
of
cuz.
Factual Opinions podcast.
You're right, Brewski. Uncut and unfiltered is the word to describe Tony Bobbitt, and he already promised John no. What he say? I'm gonna give you that real shit. So yeah, either way, we'll be linking up with him and hopefully have him on for another episode. But getting on to our beloved Cincinnati Bengals. I reserved comment because everybody was giving their analysis and stuff, especially after the last game. And I'm like, well, I'm going to save it for the show. Plus, I was trying to be patient. I didn't want to rush to a conclusion, jump off the bridge like everybody else. And y'all know I love my Bengals regardless. Like, I don't get upset about stuff like this. I come from the lost decade. I'm used to David Klingler, Kelly Smith, Scott Mitchell, Gus Farrat, Neil O'Donnell in the game, you know, Harold Green, Steve Tovar. I grew up on um, horrific Bengals football, and I loved and fell in love with them back then. So while I'm upset because this is a football team, you're right, brother Brewski Houday. While I'm upset because this is a team that entered the year with Super Bowl aspirations and it's coming off of a 2-year run of going to the Super Bowl and the AFC Championship, sometimes stuff happens. And sometimes you do take a step back. Now I want to get into why though, because that's the important part. And many people have had opinions on that. Bruce, you said you was down there in Tennessee. I know Cam was down there in Tennessee too. He didn't go to the game. Um,
So Nashville is starting to be the new, like a second Bourbon Street now. I didn't know that.
It's kind of been like that. I got a homie in Nashville. It's kind of been like that for a little bit of a while now.
and I know I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to because hell with it. People like that goofy stuff, now and that's what gets ratings and stuff. But my one of my
Yeah, it was
favorite,
hot like that.
one of my favorite porn stars lives in Nashville. Now,
Come on. See, I blame Nate because when we in the Nate house and he seen that channel, I blame Nate. See, now you got this nigga talking about this stuff. That's Nate's fault, bro.
I was just showing him the cable. That's
but
Nate got us. He got me totally off track.
Yeah, but
after the Bud Crawford Errol Spence fight, go ahead, John.
I see now. I gotta be this. I gotta be the one to get us back on track. But it's I'm the answer I'm about to give is going to be very vanilla, bro. It's really a war of attrition. You spend 2 years, one going to the Super Bowl, one going to the AFC Championship. Your body gonna break down, man. They've been playing a lot of football for the past 2 years that they probably ain't been used to being playing. Then on top of that, not playing the offseason. You have to get those reps. Joe Burrow is hurt. It's several things. And then the past couple games, other than the Monday night game, they've came out flat. They don't look like they're really into it other than the Monday night game. Like every game they've came out like, all right, we here. Let's play. That's what they look like. There's no enthusiasm. It's not the same as it was the past 2 years. It's more so of, all right, we know we good, but we're going to come out here and play. We ain't got it all, but we're going to come out here and play.
And shout out to Lisa Sparks, by the way.
Here you go.
So,
it's Nate's fault. It's Nate's fault.
He got me off track. So,
I was showing him the cable channels, y'all. It wasn't no more than this, man. Golly.
Hey, man. You the one with the freaky channels. We was at your house.
I don't even watch them. That's how bad it is. I don't even watch them.
Nate got weak because of how excited I was. Oh man, but no. So we have to transition because I'll stay stuck on this topic. But so that's one theory. But I question certain guys' attitude, and I don't want to say commitment because I don't feel like guys don't want to play for the Bengals. I don't feel like they don't want to play in the city here. But I mentioned a couple guys in particular. And
shut up, man. Come on, man. We gotta get back on track. See, bruh, what's wrong? Hey, man.
Wait, man. It's Lisa Sparks with 3 X's.
You know.
All right.
We're gonna tag her in this video.
Hey, bro.
I will, because originally she's from Bowling Green, Kentucky. She relocated to that. Okay.
Why do you know her exact whereabouts?
Yes, I do.
You know how you like his coffee, bro. You gotta just let that man rock, bro. Pause. Not that way, but
I got real.
Hey man, you got Nick
crying. Come on, man. I'm trying to get back to the Bengals, man. Bro. I'm trying to get back to the Bengals.
Oh my gosh,
bro. She actually enjoys her fans. Let me just leave it at that. All right. So anyway, so I'm speaking of Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins in particular, 2 guys that more than likely are not going to be part of the future plans with the Bengals. I'm not saying that they are malcontents or anything like that, but I'm just saying it's human nature when you know that you're probably the odd man out.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to have that same level of commitment, even if you're trying to. I'm just saying, like, if you know you're not part of the future plans. There have been rumors that they're not. Nate, stop laughing. There have been rumors that they're not as tight a unit as they've been in previous years, and I can kind of see that this year with the Bengals. That's what I see for real. They don't seem like the same unit. Some people have made
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that because it just don't. T. Higgins dropping like how many passes he dropped in that?
The only person that's playing with any kind of real, enthusiasm or umph about him is the man that took the pay cut in Joe Mixon.
Yeah. He
really,
is. He playing
in my
crazy right
opinion.
now.
See, they about to get me off track. Dewan said, "Thank you, sir." Curtis said, "Al, how you know all this? You don't want to know, brother. You don't want to know."
Oh my gosh.
Like I said, she is a very friendly, inclusive individual.
Got all the exclusives. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Mixon the only one for real. He's the only one playing with some integrity. He playing like he don't want to lose. And I heard word on the street is he had a whole locker room spill after that Titans game. So hopefully that fuels some fire or something, because they just look like they ain't there.
Yeah, of course, say what the hell I just walked into.
He walked into some mess, man. Yeah,
She
I'm
said,
starting to feel
"AB
that
know
way
all the
too, Kurt.
details." Well, I can't go there with Brewski right now. We
No,
talk off the
no,
record.
no. We're not doing that. No. We ain't gonna do that. We ain't gonna do that. Yeah, Kurt, I agree. We got to start handing the ball off more.
Well, at this point, Joe is clearly not healthy, and that's another thing.
Nope.
I'm gonna get into that. A healthy Joe Burrow covers up for a lot. There was a lot of people, including Brewski, talking about AB cut me in. Well, I know, Brewski, you like them voluptuous type women, curvy
And I'm
individuals.
surprised he said
Anyway,
that's his favorite. Al
Oh my God.
don't like the thick ones.
well, I like Lisa Sparks. Anyway,
I said
Joe covers up for a lot when he's healthy.
Excuse me.
And I'm speaking of a lot of deficiencies, whether actually on the field or coming from the sideline or the booth, or Zach Taylor, as your god brother, Big John Will, has stated many times and asked, "Man, why don't you give Zach Taylor, more credit?" And I said, because I know the difference between winning because of and winning in spite of. And that's what's been happening the last 2 years with Joe Burrow covering up for a lot of mistakes. And then Chris Taylor, damn it, man, y'all. That's what's been happening the last 2 years with Joe Burrow covering up for Zach Taylor. And the best thing that Zach Taylor has done to me the past 2 years is when he kind of removes himself from the situation and delegates and allows Joe to do what he does, or assistant coaches, Lou to do his thing on defense. I think there's a direct correlation between the more involved Zach Taylor gets, the less productive, team we see on the field. There have been many games, and I don't even want to go into individual games or try to act like I'm necessarily trying to slander Zach Taylor, because I'm not. But there are individual games we can go back to, like, a few years ago against the, 49ers and stuff, where, his play calling, him injecting himself in the game kind of cost the team. Joe clearly compensating right now, that calf muscle, trying to throw off of it. He's had several interceptions or near missed interceptions that I know wouldn't have been thrown by him in years past if he could really drop back, push off that thing. And speaking of dropping back, that's pretty much non-existent at this point, because he, is having a problem being mobile. He's in the shotgun a lot. There's just too many things to touch on. One thing, and I'm gonna turn it over to y'all, that I do want to speak on: the offensive line coach, Frank Pollard. Bengals have spent a lot of money on that offensive line the past few years. And going out and getting Orlando Brown, Jr. was supposed to be the final piece. I am not going to sit here and blame this offensive line. And, they got good guys up front, like Ted Karras, Alex Kappa, Orlando Brown that I know can play some football. At this point, you kind of need to do some self assessment and see what's going on with Frank Pollock and that offensive line
For
unit
sure.
as well.
I agree.
Secondary, losing Von Bell, who I said is
God.
like the Derek Fisher of your football team. Now I'll give it to Dax Hill from
Oh, now you're singing the song.
I know he's been playing good ball. But that other safety spot has been an issue, whether it's Nick Scott or whoever else they try, to plug in there.
The void. That's the void.
But I said you weren't going to replace Von Bell, though. And, a lot of people are saying, well, you just has nothing to do with him going to Ohio State. That kid has delivered on every level that he's played on since high school. Von Bell was one of those dudes that you look at him on the field, you plug and play. He's that dude, and he makes invaluable. Like you can't quantify what he does on the football field, in the locker room. He's just one of those guys.
I agree with Kurt because I didn't care about Jesse Bates. We knew he was gonna walk because he wanted top tier money. We knew that, but Bell, oh my gosh, that hurt my feelings. I ain't even gonna hold you.
Yeah,
it hurt my feelings.
What you heard Sweet Lou, our defensive coordinator, say verbatim, it'll be a dark day if we lose both safeties.
Yeah, and we end up losing both of them.
The Jesse Bates thing was the best, worst kept secret, over the past 2 years. We knew that wasn't going to happen. We knew he was going to go get his bag or whatever.
We knew he was going to get money.
That shouldn't have happened. Chris Taylor says, what's the name again for research purposes? Okay, it's Lisa Sparks. Last name spelled SPARXXX, so 3 X's at the end. That is the last time I'm going to segue this episode. Y'all are killing me today.
Hey, she do got some. You know what? Never mind.
Big John had already looked it up.
No. Hold on. I know who she is. I was surprised you know who she is. Because you don't like him that size. So I was surprised you know who she is. I was about to say she got some nice titties.
Have you seen her? Have you seen her?
Okay. Yeah, I see it.
All right.
I'm versed.
Dewar said, Krista, I forgot to spell it too. Yeah, I just
Hey man, y'all foul, bro. But everything y'all said, man. But also one thing I want to point out, man, with Joe being hurt, and you mentioned T. Higgins a couple minutes ago. I know T. Higgins' pause has a big catch radius, but he was like, Joe been leaving him out to dry here lately, man. And it's like, and I know T. Higgins
he didn't took like 2 or 3.
And
now T. Higgins saying like he got a cracked rib or whatever, and it's like I can tell because like bro, he's I know he's 6'5", but he's putting him in bad positions, and Joe don't usually do that. So it's like, come on, man, something ain't right.
Yeah.
So I mean, even with that said, though, there have been other things. Like I don't know if y'all saw, Uno doesn't really have a filter, and they asked him about whether he was, still getting separation. And he said, I'm always effing open, I think there's a direct correlation with him getting the ball and us winning, as you saw on Monday night when he had 12 catches, a couple weeks ago. Most of our high-profile victories over the past 2 years have involved Uno getting the ball significantly.
Yeah.
I was talking to Cam about this last night. I said, you can even go back to the Ocho years or the AJ years. We grinded out a few, wins without them, really being involved. But how many games really without our lead number one wide receivers have we really won without them being significantly involved?
Not too many.
Not often. I think Tennessee was the only win we had like that.
Yeah. So Tyler Boyd and that's still my favorite Bengals wide receiver currently on the roster. Tyler Boyd gave Uno a look when he was doing his interview on Sunday that I didn't really like. And I know that Tyler Boyd said at the beginning of the year, something to the effect of T. Higgins got the short end of the stick. So now you talk about people's money and stuff, and I didn't like when he made that comment about, Carlos Dunlap and how he exited the team. I really, you know, the business part of it or whether a guy's personal situation is fitting with the team, I think a lot of times people need to stay away from that. But those are the little comments, little side looks and stuff that's just making me think that maybe, and I don't have any direct sources on this, whatever. I haven't talked to Mr. Miller about this, but it's just making me think that this team is not as close as it was. And I'm gonna say another
Nope.
thing.
Division is happening. Division
Joe
is definitely
Burrow
happening.
said that he was going to try to be cognizant of allowing enough, money to be left over to have a, contending team going forward and sign guys or whatever. And I'm not saying the joke because I'm on record as saying I felt like he deserved every penny, and I still feel that way. No calf injury is going to change that for me. But when you go out and you get the highest paid contract in NFL history, that doesn't really coincide with I'm trying to leave money left over for the rest of the team.
It doesn't.
I don't know if guys feel any type of way about that, but it doesn't seem like the same team to me.
It don't. It don't even seem like the same energy on that team. Pratt said it too. He said the energy's down right now.
I made a comment.
What you munching on, Big John?
Hey man, I got some spaghetti here. I'm just trying to every time I get off camera, I'm trying to sneak some. I'm brother hungry a little bit. But yeah, man, it's just I said, bro, they've been coming out flat, man, and it shows. The energy's not there. Other than the Monday night game, that was the only time they came out with some energy. That's the only time. In the past, 4 games? That's it.
Brian said feed Uno. Uno certainly thinks he's open. I haven't watched enough. I tell you one game I know he wasn't getting open, and that was the Cleveland game.
Oh, no, he wasn't.
To open up the year. There was no separation.
Ward was all over the place.
That too, but he ain't had time to get separation.
Did you say something about that
the defensive line was there.
All-pro
he
defensive
was all
back?
over the place.
That former All-American from
Ward was all over the field, man.
They couldn't block that mutant they got on the defensive line.
He started doing basketball moves on us. That's when I turned the game off.
Like Myles Garrett can't block him. That's the reason why.
He started doing basketball.
A little salty about it. Well, that could be true, Brucey, because there were a lot of people that said that negotiations were never even really close on a T. Higgins extension, and then they might let him go to free agency. Now, I think the more likely situation is he'll be franchise tagged at the end of this year, so they'll keep him here another year like they did, Jesse Bates and AJ Green, that last year. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I think there's just some human being element being added in here where guys have had success the past 2 years. They're feeling themselves. Everybody feels like they should probably be making a little bit more. There's only certain guys that are going to be brought back. You had to bring Joe back. You got Trey Hendrickson, extension, Logan Wilson. There's certain guys that are going to be brought back and certain guys that can't. It just is what it is. I was on the board of wanting T. Higgins to be brought back because that shows me that this is a different, team under Miss Blackburn that is willing to take that extra step that people like Carson Palmer said that they won't and never have. They'll bring back the stars, the Joes, the Unos, the Geno Atkins, the AJs, the Dunlaps. Whitworth had 3 or 4 contracts here. But are you going to sign that extra guy? Are you going to bring Hushmanzada back? Are you going to bring Marvin Jones back?
Right.
That Jonathan Joseph's, back.
And Chase, and this is no shot at him. Chase is a dog. But you got to realize wide receiver's position where the people around you help you. So if you don't have a Higgins or you don't have a Boyd, all eyes are on you, and we're going to really see how good you are. Because if they draft 2 guys that ain't to that caliber, it's gonna get real ugly for you.
Yep.
And you better be you better be Uno. You better be, because Because, like I said, you a dog. You're playing to the level you should be playing at. But it's a reason why. Because they got to worry about Boyd going through the middle. They got to worry about T. Higgins taking the top off.
Well, and that's definitely gonna show next year. I think with Boyd being out of here, you better hope that Chuck Jones, the rookie from Purdue that just hurt his thumb, and I know they're pretty high on the kid from what was it, Princeton,
Yeah.
that they drafted. I think it's Andre something with a weird last name.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you talking about the boy out of Fairfield?
Is he from Fairfield?
Yeah, he went to Fairfield.
That's fine, man, but they're not T. Higgins. They're not Tyler Boyd.
Right.
That's what kind of separates this team. So
and it's not like you have and this is no shot at the coaching. It's not like you have a great offensive mind like Andy Reid that's going to scheme everybody open. That's not going to happen with what you have right now. So with that being said, get your brothers together because right now it ain't looking too good for you.
Well, what about the line of thinking? And you never want to wave the white flag or nothing like that. And I'm not suggesting that they do so either, but I'm just throwing this out there to see what you guys think and everybody tuned in. What about the line of thinking right now where we know that Joe's calf muscle is not going to get better with him playing on it? They got A.J. McCarron, they brought back. I'm not, as high on that acquisition as most people are. I don't know what type of player A.J. McCarron is at this point. I know. He's got two years out of the league. Yeah, he played in the
XFL season.
He played in the XFL, but I always thought that AJ McCarron was limited to begin with, and I don't think that that's going to change at his age right now. Is it Jake Browning? The backup currently. Is this one of them where you just need to reset, man? You need to rest Joe. If we end up with a top 10 or top 15 pick that can come in and be a difference, maker right away. I threw it out jokingly, last week where I said, well, man, what if we just suck and we draft Marvin Harrison and let T. Higgins go or trade him? I'm joking when I say that, but I'm saying, do we need to kind of look long term at this point?
And football wisdom, that would probably be the best route. But they're not going to do that to the city as much as the people love the Bengals, but they're right, bro. They shut down the season, bro.
I think we're panicking too fast, though.
But are we? I mean, but Burrow's hurt. We know this. They're not playing on the same level with each other. We know it's something wrong with T. It's the defense is actually playing decent. They just keep put in the bad positions. It's gonna hurt, but like I said, and Burrow can't be Burrow with the calf muscle. He can't move around. He can't extend plays. He can't do anything we're used to seeing him do. So why keep putting him out there? And it possibly could make it worse because in football, we all know it's one hit away from being over. We know this.
He said, "Nah, take those shots, coaching, because they trash." Brucey says they gotta sit Joe. Brian said AJ McCarron is known for two things: being a product of Alabama rosters and his supermodel wife. Look, other than Tua, whose brain is clearly scrambled at this point, I told you the only Alabama quarterback I've ever been sold on at the pro level is Joe Namath. So, at the end of the day,
can we put Jalen Hurts in this conversation?
He spent more time at Alabama than Oklahoma. He is an Alabama quarterback. And it ain't like he left.
Is it too early to put him in this conversation?
And it ain't like he. Okay, I understand, John. Did he look the same at Alabama as he did at Oklahoma under Lincoln Riley, letting him open?
Because Lincoln Riley is. Lincoln Riley had what?
First year at Alabama, he did.
Lincoln Riley had two Heisman quarterbacks back to back. So, he knows how to coach quarterbacks. So, of course, he's going to coach him up. Now, he didn't have that luxury at Alabama, and they didn't get the best out of him. So, yeah, he looked the best. They still didn't win. They didn't
Okay.
do nothing.
And I like Jalen Hurts, so I'm not detracting from him. But I'm saying like there was some development when he went to Oklahoma also.
Yeah, for sure. And he took him to the college playoff.
Chris said, "You think we can get the Mike White effect with a backup? Having minimal film might help until Joe gets good, 2 wins, and we 500 going into the bye." It should be a consideration at this point, but from everything that I hear coming out from the stadium down there, is they don't have any intention right now of sitting Joe. I mean, unless he,
Joe said he want to play out. He said, "I just signed this contract. I don't want to sit."
sometimes you had to. Sometimes you had to protect your player from his own self, though.
Right, you do,
True.
you do. But when you said that, it made me think about when Craig made Smokey get up. Man, you ain't gonna get me shot up. Better get out there and make that money. That's what they told Joe. You better get all this money. We paying you all this money. You better go out there and make that money. I don't care if you play on one leg. You better go get something.
I think Joe, being the leader that he is, obviously wants to play. He wants to be out there with his guys. Joe does a great job of blocking a lot of things out and zeroing in and just, having supreme confidence in himself. But I do think as a human being, there is a little bit of Joe probably feeling, obligated after signing this monstrous contract that he needs to be out there. You can't dismiss that, but I still think at a certain point, you had to look long term at that investment that you just made.
Right.
What are we, 1-3 right now? That's it's not
AFC,
insurmountable.
In the AFC North that plays.
Yeah, we're 1-3.
Week.
We play Arizona this Sunday, 4:25.
Curtis said, "Thank you, guys, for somebody Brown. Maybe need to pull the AJ Green on it." Well, and a lot of people were talking about, well, Zach Taylor needs to do this. This really ain't a Zach Taylor decision. This is, if you want to be honest about it, and this is no disrespect, because y'all know how I am about, protecting Mr. Brown on this program. I don't think it has nothing to do with him either. This is a Katie and Duke Tobin decision at this point right now, where they need to step in and be the ones who make this decision, because Joe's not going to sit down unless he literally can't go. And even then, I can see that fool trying to limp out there or taking some type of injection or something to try and go.
Don't y'all drop me. I'm worth $1 million.
Brian said, as a Cowboys fan, don't sleep on Arizona. I'm still bitter about them. You are too, man. Your boys gave Josh Dobbs his first victory.
Yeah.
Even though he ain't had his jersey in the pro shop.
Bro, y'all lost to somebody that got eyebrows.
Oh, man.
John, he went too damn far.
Hey, man, that's what oh, man.
He went too goddamn far now.
My bad.
How about them Cowboys?
My bad.
They got a tough one this week. They're going against the juggernauts.
They had a good victory, though, Sunday.
No, I'm talking about this week. They're going against San Fran. They prime time.
Yeah, I heard the president, general manager, and owner of the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones, saying that he fully expects the 49ers to win the Super Bowl this year, and they are the team to beat in the NFC. I don't know if that was one of Jerry's motivational tactics to his players.
That was, man. Because if anything, and I'd be shocked if it's not, that's going to be a defensive game.
He said, Sam Cassell, what are y'all doing, man? What are y'all
doing? Thank you. They try to make me feel bad, bro. Don't do that, bro. People come over here and say what they want, bro. Y'all come over here and say what y'all want. Don't come at me like that, bro.
Look at Bruce.
Right. Oh, y'all. All the stuff y'all to put me through as a kid, bro. Y'all better stop. You ain't doing that.
Yeah.
The Jerry Jones voice.
I've been known, Brother Kevin, to do the Jerry Jones voice quite a few times on here. So, yeah. last year I was doing it. They made me keep doing it that episode. But Jerry gives you sound bites, so he makes it very easy to imitate him. But we've got all faith in the world in Dak going forward, and we made that trade for Trey Lance, to sit on the bench, and it's Tony Pollard's team now. That Zeke is
He
now
needs to
on the.
learn. Go ahead and say that out. He needs to learn.
He needs to learn how to carry the load by himself, and of course we've got CD Lamb out there, so we feel pretty confident about our team going against the 49ers this week. um, no, I mean the 49ers do look good. I'm not discounting the Philadelphia Eagles. It may not be the most exciting style of ball at all times, but
They
they're
had a
still
good game
winning.
Sunday too, man. That was the nail biter on Sunday.
But the scary thing about the Eagles, you don't know when it's going to turn on. Like, they can win any kind of way. They can blow you out. They can beat you in a nail biter. They're just a good football team. Like,
They are.
they can grind out wins. They run the ball. We know Jalen Hurts can throw the ball. They have to get more explosive because they got the guys, but they can beat you any
Jalen
kind of
Hurts
way.
has that it factor, man.
Yeah.
We talk about Joe Burrow. You sound dead on it. Yeah.
Man, he sound like, bro. Jerry Jones sound like Big Daddy from Django, man. That's what he sounds like.
I've been imitating Jerry for a long time, so I got him
making my
down
back
pat.
hurt. Yeah,
Wait a minute.
It was a lot easier back in the day with the triplets when we had when we had Troy, Emmett, and Michael out there.
Michael.
No, that's how you say it too. But
Right.
the NFL, outside of us being a little bummed out here because of what the Bengals are looking like they're gonna be this year, it's still been an exciting season. To me, there's a lot of good football being played other than the Chicago Bears and Denver Broncos. I don't want to get into that. Boy, I feel sorry for Justin Fields, the second greatest quarterback in Ohio State Buckeyes history.
I feel bad for Sierra.
I don't feel bad for her.
Hey, man. Hey, bro.
Kev, I said pause.
He said we over there talking spicy.
Hey, you talking about?
I said,
bro,
wait a minute.
Russell Wilson actually been playing well. That defense is trash.
I mean, you know what? He has been playing decent.
He has been playing well.
It's like, not really him. It's They're just not a good football team.
They're just not a good football team. He actually been playing well. And that team in that game that they dropped to, I hate their name, the Commanders. I don't even like saying it. It's just stupid.
How about
thank you, Big John, for reminding me because I almost forgot. Please. Wait a minute, because I got to get this in. This is going to be a great sound bite, too. All right. Is Andy Reid still calling the plays or what? Because Eric Bieniemy looks like he's doing a good job with that Commanders team. I'm just saying.
He does. And that offense was moving Sunday.
He played at Colorado, too, Will.
He did play at Colorado, Eric Bieniemy. But no, I'm being serious. I want to harp in on this point because there was a lot of discrediting going on with Eric Bieniemy when he was in Kansas City about his role and how active he was and how much of an integral part of the success that he was. It was very disrespectful, and there's some undertones to it that we don't have to get into. And we know, why. We've talked about it here on this program before. But the job that he's done in Washington so far with that offense, I don't think it can be denied. Ron Rivera hired him for a reason because he's primarily a defensive coach. So Eric Bieniemy certainly runs that show, and he is, let me emphasize this, he is calling the plays in Washington. So I just want to hear what the excuses are now.
There is none. He went to the Commanders to prove a point. It had nothing to do with.
That's all that was. That was to prove a point.
He did it to prove a point. Oh, y'all don't believe I'm a good coach? Watch this.
That's what he did. And that's not the most star-studded offense either.
I see Washington being playoff now.
I think they'll go to the playoffs, but like I said, that's not the most star-studded offense either.
Other than I forgot the running back's name, and then Scary Terry, that is their offense. Two guys.
You talking about
Terry
Robinson,
McLaurin.
the one that got shot, right?
Yeah, Robinson and Scary Terry. That is their offense.
Where did Terry
So
McLaurin go to school at?
the running back that got shot with Alabama. I don't know where Terry went.
Yes, you do. Where did Terry McLaurin go to school?
Hey, bro. Hey, I don't have to say y'all name. I don't do that. That's you.
You said
Even
Chase Young.
Huh?
You said Chase Young, right?
The
Chase Young just got back on the field. He been
Curtis Samuel
years.
also went to the. He had a pretty good game too. If you want to go check the highlights.
Brian Robinson.
So.
Thanks, Kev.
Yeah, we can try to skip over those two individuals I just said, but okay. So no, I had to get that in there though. So shout out to Eric Bieniemy, and I'm very glad that he's going to finally get the credit that he deserves as a coach. He really should be a head coach right now. But
he should. But going back to what we said, man, like Russ has been playing well, and I feel bad for that young man in Chicago, because Chicago and all my years of living have never supported their quarterback.
Nope, I never
ever. And Jim McMahon had to have probably the best defense ever in life, and Walter Payton for him to win in Chicago.
Arguably the greatest running back of all time. Also,
that's what I said. That's what I said. You have the greatest pop, other than maybe that Ravens team with the Bears, the best defense ever, and the best running back ever for you to actually win something.
I think I'm gonna watch that 30 for 30 when I get off of here, man. I can't get enough of them 85 Bears.
Yeah, like
it was tough.
Yeah, man. Like speaking of Ron Rivera, but yeah, like come on, man. They never have an offense, and even when their offense was halfway decent, and I say halfway decent because they weren't even all that. Their defense was terrible, but they've always been about running the ball and defense. Like,
on that comment from Brother Kevin, I guess Caleb Williams is the best quarterback in the country right now, but I'm just wondering when this, and not to be funny, midget quarterback trend is going to stop. Lincoln Riley was the one who started that with the Baker Mayfield and the Kyler Murray. Now he's got Caleb Williams, who he had at Oklahoma, and followed him to USC. But I can see that, man, because nobody wants to go to either. We've spoken about the Chicago Bears for a long time. I mean, it's a defensive organization. You got to think, what's his name? Ozzie Newsome.
Ozzie Newsome, yeah.
With the Ravens for having the foresight. That was his last draft before he retired as GM, drafting Lamar Jackson. Otherwise, they'd be in the same situation. They had that one postseason where Joe Flacco got hot, and got
went
them
to
the
Pro
bowl
Bowl that year too,
and won. But honestly, organizations like that, they got a plan. They have their DNA. I was worried about Justin Fields when he got drafted there because, as John said, I mean, even when Walter Payton was there, he complained about that. The 8 and 9 man fronts that he was running into constantly because they didn't have anything else other than him and a defense. And then they drafted crazy Jim McMahon, who, was off the cusp and, made plays that wasn't even designed really to do it. But that's their one and only Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I don't want to talk
what was the
down
year
on the Bears.
and they got back to the Super Bowl, but
Peyton when they had Lovey, but even then,
it wasn't a great offense.
It was
Rex
still
Grossman was a liability.
Yeah. It was still a defensive based team. Brian Urlacher, Peanut, all them. It was still
Briggs. Yeah,
it was still a defensive based team. Now they had who was the running back?
Tank Johnson.
Who was the running back? Not Foster. Arian Foster played for Houston Texans. What was his name?
Was it Thomas Jones?
No, Forte? Number 22. No. Forte.
No, it
Forte.
was Jones. No, Forte was not on that Super Bowl team. It was Jones and it was Cedric Benson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Yeah.
So they still never strayed far away from their DNA. They had a old Muhsin Muhammad who
Right.
gave them a little bit of offense at the wide receiver position, but
But
yeah,
even
man.
even when they, I spoke on it a minute ago, but even when they had Cutler and they had a decent offense, it was still okay. It wasn't nothing to write home about.
Oh yeah,
Nah.
you you talk about when they made it to the NFC Championship and BJ Raji
Yeah,
got that pick six and did the booty
yeah,
dance and the
right, right, right. Who
Trash.
was who was the two receivers? I'm having a brain fart right now.
Brandon
Marshall
Marshall and
and
Brandon
Jefferson,
Marshall.
Alshon Jeffries. It was them
Was
two,
that
and they had a
Alshon?
decent. Yeah,
the two big possession wide receivers. Well,
yeah.
nobody running downfield.
Yeah. They was getting buckets, but it just and they had that's when they had Forte. But they had a decent offense. They had Forte, Jeffries, they Marshall, Cutler throwing the ball.
Well,
I
look, the
forgot
two
who.
places I did not want Justin Fields to go for obvious reasons was Washington and the Bears.
Okay. While we're now, I will give an Ohio State guy credit, but I've always given this young man credit. But Shroud is playing very well with the Houston Texans.
He is. He had a good
Like
game Sunday.
like like I said he would, but the thing is, I really wanted him to go to Carolina because he will be doing a hell of a lot better than what Young is doing.
CJ Strezzo.
He will be because Young they put a decent team around Young, but like you said, he's smaller. He's in smaller stature. He's not CJ Stroud. I wanted him to go to Carolina. He did not
And
go.
well, people get caught up in that Alabama crap, so
I know.
they
And I like
always get.
that's no shot at Young. I actually like Young too, but Stroud is a better quarterback.
Yep, he's showing it. Definitely
Well,
showing it now.
he showed you against Georgia, when he did what nobody's done against them the past 2 years that they've been on their back-to-back, championship run.
And
So,
that's sad. That's sad. I like the Ohio State guy. I don't nobody else like. So that's
well,
actually
it's
really
funny if
good.
you look at the Twitter boards and stuff now. Everybody's like, "Oh, we had C.J. Stroud, we'd be up by 40 and blah 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 blah." And that's like, nah, but y'all didn't like him when he was here.
Yeah, I ain't like him when he was getting drafted and when he was in Ohio State.
I like C.J. Stroud. I'm still figuring out where exactly to put him on my top 10 Buckeye quarterback list of all time because he's on there. JT Barrett is not. Um,
You gonna keep saying that. You gonna keep saying that, huh?
people act like you're saying something blasphemous, and I'm like, what? Okay, let me stop because I really don't. I respect everybody who dons that scarlet and gray and goes to play for my state university, but sometimes you just have to be real about stuff. But I'm trying to figure out where to put CJ Stroud on there. And
I
the
mean,
unfortunate part, like I've told Big John before, even for people like me that weren't necessarily anti CJ Stroud, the bottom line is when you go to the Ohio State University, and I'm not saying it's his fault, at least not directly, especially this past year's game, when you lose to that team up north,
Takes away from your value.
but we have those
that's
conversations.
his legacy, and he even admitted it at the podium after the game. Like he owned up to it. He said, "I realized that I'm going to be judged by the fact that I was 0-2 against that team up north."
But here's the thing, though. I mean, we have those conversations all the time. It's okay for a guy to have a great NFL career, and I'm not saying his college career was bad, but if you don't have him in your top 10 Ohio State quarterbacks, that's fine because his college career didn't put him up there like that. You're
Is
not
it
gonna.
fine when you a two-time Heisman finalist? I don't know that that's fine not to have him in your
I
top
mean,
10.
I'm okay. I'm not gonna say it's fine, but like
It's
okay.
tough.
Let's say this: he may not be in your top 5. He probably will be in your top 10, but it's okay because, like I said, he didn't produce to the standard of your school, but he did have a good career. Nobody said not. Just like we know, Tim Tebow is probably one of the best college football players of all time. In the league, he's trash,
Well, those are
but
two different conversations, though,
that's what
and
I'm
that's
Yeah.
why
saying.
I like to stop
That's
people
two separate things.
But see, that's
before
what I'm
they go
saying.
into them,
That's
because
what I'm
there's a
saying.
college
So,
football Hall of Fame and there's a pro football Hall of
and
Fame.
that's what I'm saying. So if you're just judging him off what he did in college, yes, 2-time Heisman Award finalist, but if you going by Ohio State standards, you're comparing him to Troy Smith and all the other guys, and it's like okay. So
Is Terrell Pryor top 10 Ohio State quarterback? Absolutely. You know what? Absolutely, brother Chris. The reason I'm gonna say this is because Terrell Pryor was brought to Columbus as the most highly recruited player in the country. He won 3 Big 10 titles during his time at Ohio State before he was kicked out unceremoniously his senior year for that bull crap tattoo scandal, stuff that really wasn't a scandal. Besides the 3 Big 10 titles, he was a Rose Bowl MVP. He was a Sugar Bowl MVP. He defeated the Oregon team that was supposed to be the hottest team in the country with Jeremiah Masoli and LeGarrette Blunt and LaMichael James and basketball on grass and all that garbage. And he won the MVP in that game. He's also the first quarterback in Ohio State history and school history to defeat an SEC team in a bowl game. So he pretty much did everything that he was brought there to do except win a national championship. And he probably would have done that if he was allowed to come back to school his senior year. So, yeah, Terrell Pryor, anytime he stepped on the field, at the very least, he was the best athlete on the field. And he had developed a lot in his quarterbacking skills by his junior year. So, yeah, I definitely put TP in my top 10. So, yeah, that's how I feel about that. In this disassociation period where they're not really allowed to bring him up and all this other stuff. So I'll do a better job of posting Terrell Pryor stuff going forward. There were different opinions about him. I know I had a connect in the equipment room up there that, wasn't too fond of TP walking in there speaking in third person saying, okay, who's going to take Terrell Pryor's ankles? Stuff like that. But keeping it strictly on the field, yeah, I think Terrell Pryor delivered, man. Nate looked like he dozing off over there, y'all.
I'm tapping, boy. This getting up early is killing me.
Man, he over there faded. But yeah, I'll do an episode or a segment about that.
Oh, hold on. Before you go. So I was asked in a private one, is Smith up in that list?
Of course. I mean, that's not even like,
that was like I just want to
cuss on here, bro.
Hold on.
First of all, y'all know,
get y'all reaction.
Y'all know how
I get y'all reaction for a reason.
No. Y'all know how I feel about that, but that's not even a question.
That for a reason.
That's not even a question, bro.
I wanted to get y'all reaction because I thought that was the dumbest question I heard today.
Troy Smith is the GOAT, okay? He is the GOAT.
I thought that was one of the dumbest questions.
He's still the best Ohio State quarterback in history. He's the only quarterback whose jersey is retired and in the Ring of Honor, up there at Ohio Stadium. It ain't even close now. And I realize I'm biased because I'm like the world's biggest Troy Smith fan. And, he's responded to me a few times. We, DM'd and talked on here and stuff. He's responded to some of my posts and reposted some stuff. But in my opinion, and honestly, my knowledge of Ohio State football goes back to about 1942, the first national championship under the great Paul Brown. Troy Smith is still number one to me. Justin Fields is number two. I'm not giving away the rest of my list. You had to tune in when we do that.
Wait. You got Fields number two?
I do have Justin Fields number two. I think it's absolutely ridiculously good that sometimes you finish with more touchdowns than you do incompletions in a game. And he did that.
That's the craziest stat I've seen.
And he did that so many times at Ohio State. It's just you didn't even have to guess whether the ball was going to be completed or not when he threw it. He was like that, and God rest his soul. Simba was like that. Dwayne Haskins, who in his 1 year, set the Big Ten record for most passing yards and touchdowns. It was held by Drew Brees, broke that record. So, because a lot of people make a comment about that and they say, well, man, he started over Joe Burrow. And it's like, yeah, he did. And it's not like he didn't.
A loaded team.
It's not like he didn't deliver.
Just like we said, what you do in college is different from what you do in the league. Even though Joe Burrow did win a national championship, but he had to leave to do that. On that team, Joe Burrow at the time probably wasn't better than Dwayne Haskins. And
he was the I
don't think he was in Urban Meyer's system. That was the difference. But then again, it's not like Dwayne Haskins was necessarily a scrambler, either. It's like he said. Speaking of Urban Meyer, we played the guy that was best, and had Joe Burrow not broken his hand, and I won't say how he did it, he would have been in line to start after JT Barrett anyway. He did back up JT Barrett, so till he got hurt. Said Fields number 2. Yeah, I think, and you know what? We be having a much different discussion had Fields been able to pull off that national championship
For
victory
sure.
against
I agree.
Alabama, and Trey Sermon not gotten hurt on the second or third play of the game, especially the way he was cooking. But yeah, I could go on about why I have Fields number 2, but I just personally I think Fields was the most complete quarterback in Buckeyes history. Just throwing ability, accuracy, and being able to scramble and put it all together. I think he was that
It's a
dude
tough
and that
argument.
gifted.
It's a tough argument. I ain't got no argument for you right now.
I mean, like, and I don't want to give it all away this episode, but like when you go down this list, there's people that you had to talk about. And I'm not ranking them when I say it. There's Braxton Miller. There's my guy that everybody else seems to hate, and I don't know why. Craig Krenzel, Captain Clutch, the ultimate winner. It may not be pretty, but I don't trust nobody more on 4th and 15 than I trust Craig Krenzel just to make a play happen. Period. Point blank. There's Bobby Hoying that played on those teams with Eddie George and Terry Glenn and company. Another guy that people overlook, Joe Germain, could toss
I
that
just
thing with
thinking
the
of that
best
name.
of them. It makes people mad, but I feel like Stanley Jackson should be part of the conversation with top 10, top 15 quarterbacks at Ohio State.
Stanley Jackson.
Yes, Stanley Jackson. Imagine Stanley Jackson and Urban Meyer's offense. I think he was a little bit ahead of his time.
I give you that a little bit. Pause.
Cardale Jones. Cardale Jones probably had the greatest 3-game run in school history.
He definitely did.
Where does he belong?
3 games. 3 key games.
Big Ten championship versus Wisconsin, semifinal playoff game against Alabama, number 1 team in the country, and capping it off against Oregon in the national championship. So, we'll say that conversation for another day. I even think we might even be able to get Big John to join that conversation, man.
Hey, I won't be on the episode, fans. We appreciate y'all, but I won't be there. I'm gonna let Brother Nate and Brother Alex handle that.
Big John. Big John want to talk about Gino Torretti and Ken Dorsey.
Hey, bro.
Jim Kelly.
Ken Dorsey was mild.
Bernie Kosar.
When
you got all the mutants around you, like
when you played with Andre Johnson, Willis McGahee, Frank Gore, Roscoe Perez, Ethnic Sands, you can be mild.
Didn't he play with? Did he play with Reggie Wayne too?
Yeah,
that first year.
So. Yeah, the first year he was with Reggie.
And come on, man. Ken Dorsey.
Santana Mouse, playing with Santana Mouse, you can be mild.
I ain't gonna call Ken Dorsey a bum, but man. All you had to do is not mess up when you playing with that much talent around you.
He is on that team where you got all the mutants playing basketball. He that little white point guard is gonna get the ball where it needs to be. And them little John Stockton shorts.
Will, what's dude's name that played for Duke? What was they point guard's name with Christian Laettner and them? Bobby Hurley.
Yeah.
That's who he was.
That's who he is. Bro, that don't matter. Like he had, like he said, when you have all that talent.
John has to be on that episode.
I'm not gonna be on the episode. I won't be. Hey, you can ask Brother Will to come on. You can ask Killer Cam to come on. John will not be on that episode. I appreciate y'all.
Why?
I'm gonna be in the comments. I'm just gonna be laughing because bro.
It's that
bro. I still have hate in my heart. I do. I will never let it go.
Why? Because y'all
They
came
got
in
hated so hard. Y'all had
arrogantly.
a quarterback named
No,
Ted Gord.
no. Why? Because y'all came in arrogantly to a national championship, not willing to admit that y'all were playing an equal team.
That too, but the refs took the game away, bro. We already had that conversation.
You realize if that ref didn't throw that flag, Ohio State fans would be saying the same thing to this day.
That's fine,
and if Miami was as great as they shouldn't have been playing catch up for 85% of that game anyway.
That's fine. Yep. You are right on both answers, but I still stand by what I say.
They still lost.
You're right. It still is. I'm not debating that either.
And college overtime is great because both teams get to possess the ball and stuff. I heard Jonathan Vilma say, "But the game was supposed to be over." Well, it wasn't. So
it was supposed to be. It's supposed to be.
Hey, Big John.
It was you confetti on
some, you lose some, but you live. You live to fight another day.
Hey, bro.
What about that block in the back that set up Roscoe Parrish's punt return to even get there for a game time field goal as time expired?
Alex,
I've invited Big John, y'all, to watch this game with me over 100 times. But there's no way you've watched that game as many times as I have. There's no way.
I have.
No. There's no way.
Al, I have. And I'm not debating anything you're saying. I'm still going to feel the way I feel. Even if it happened to your team and it was in reverse, you would still feel the same way. I even asked you as a defensive back, what's that pass interference?
All right, we've been over this many times.
Thank you. Okay, that's all I said.
I was getting off the bus. We were coming back from Christmas break when that happened. John damn near tackled me into a puddle of snow as I'm getting off the bus. And he said, so that's pass interference? And I said, as a defensive back, I'm going to say no. That's all I said. I didn't say that it was an egregious, call or anything. I just said as a defensive back, I would have hoped that wouldn't have been flagged. Was there contact before the ball arrived?
It was contact.
Now,
but when you got one person on their knees and one person 2 feet in the air jumping to catch the ball, who the ball hit his hands.
I've said for years that Chris Gamble still should have caught the pass no matter what.
And if he caught it, you wouldn't hear a peep out of me. If he caught the ball and there was no flag, you wouldn't hear no peep because it still hit his hands. You wouldn't hear no argument at all from me.
Yeah. What Chris say? None of them they were thrown to a ball. OSU might be wide receiver U over Clemson. I didn't know Clemson was wide receiver U just because they had a couple basketball playing in words like, T. Higgins and DeAndre Hopkins. No, wait, because there's a stat on this. There have not been any school other than Ohio State has not had more wide receivers drafted over the past, 30 plus years or first round wide receivers. I mean, I can go back to, Chris Carter, Joey Galloway, Michael Jenkins, Terry Glenn, the list goes on and on. David Boston, Santonio Holmes, Teddy Ginn. Like I can keep going with this Ohio State wide receiver list. That gets nasty, almost as much as their DBs. You got even the new school guys. You got people like Garrett Wilson, last year's NFL Rookie of the Year, cutting up. Chris Olave is dogging down there in New Orleans, and I don't know why people don't talk about him. He was actually my favorite,
Michael Thomas,
guard Mike, yeah, man.
Bro, he gave Michigan one compliment. Now he monologuing about Ohio State for 30 minutes. Bro, we don't care.
You know what we don't care about? we don't care about a school that you still making excuses for, acting like Ohio State was the reason they fell off.
Who making excuses? Who making excuses?
Teammates. No, this is serious.
Hold on, wait a minute. I'm being serious.
He tries to cut me off every time I say this.
No.
Because you got teammates killing each other 2 miles off campus, which is really what caused the downfall of that school.
Right.
That and Nevin Shapiro and everything else that was going on down there. And this is post Uncle Luke. So don't give me that
Bruh.
junk, man.
Bruh. I don't give my team excuses. I'm probably harder on them than anybody else. I don't care. I don't even mention them until they do something. I will never mention them until they do something.
And the bad part is,
What's your problem, bro?
I want Miami to be good again. That's the bad part. I don't have to hate that John, has for Ohio State, because I realize if the U is back on the map with USC and the rest of these traditional powers and stuff, they ain't going to Tuscaloosa.
But here's the thing. Even with my animosity and hate, I'm still a football guy first. So I will give any Ohio State player their credit, coach or whoever. So don't act like I'm just up here just spewing venom, like I'm just talking nonsense. I just
want you to admit what the true decline of your program was.
Bruh, that ref and that flag. Taking Nate, what are you doing, bro?
Parents are not going to send their kids to school when teammates are killing each other 2 miles off campus.
They sending them to Florida with the killer, where the killer went.
Has nothing to do with the price of coffee. He wasn't killing his own teammates.
I'm joking, man. I'm joking.
Just saying.
But look, we gonna get the recruits. We're getting the guys. Cristobal's doing a decent job, but I'm still not gonna give them credit till they do something. That's it.
You can't give them no credit until they do something, bro.
Because even when they got Ricks, and I thought Ricks was gonna turn it around, he was getting the guys too, and he was winning games. Unfortunately, he got sick, so I can't do nothing.
I mean, it's still one of those schools. Excuse me, where I compare to UC basketball, where it's like all it takes is one recruiting class or one winning season to reignite the cachet that's already there.
Right.
I would love to see Miami have an on-campus
stadium.
stadium.
Miami basketball did better than football last year.
When they've been doing better than football the past couple of years.
They need to be careful with that, because I've spoke about that on here before too, man. When you have those schools that totally go away from what their flagship program is, usually don't work out well. Because see, that other program, like, hate to say it, UC football, it's going to be a flash in the pan and do what it does for a short amount of time or while that coach is there. And when that coach leaves, it's going to go back to what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can have a team or a school like Nebraska that may never get back to, what it was when you start diverting, resources and stuff. Florida State had to be careful about that too, because Leonard Hamilton does a great job with that basketball program down there. And they have been producing first round draft picks,
NBA guys
every year, down there. So what we gonna do? This was a longer episode than usual, but it was a great episode. It was good to have Big John back in the mix. We're gonna go ahead and wrap up things. When people tune back in or stream on this, I want to make sure that everybody checks us out on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We are streaming on all of these platforms now.
We ain't hard to find.
Not hard to find at all.
We ain't
Click the links. Check us out everywhere we need to be. We appreciate the likes, follows, the shares. All that's important. So I am Pharaoh signing out with the Brown Bruce Wayne Big John.
Yes, sir.
Will West the best Nate.
You know it.
We'll rock out and do it better next time.
Yes, sir.
Sure.